Okay, I think we'll get started. So last lecture, we talked about the introduction to the course and then the types of heterogeneous mixtures. While we said then that we want to keep like a solid suspension in liquid as kind of our working example. The vast majority of what we're doing here in this whole course will be just really applies to any kind of heterogeneous mixture. And that includes suspensions and colloids. So let's start today with laying down some definitions and then getting a few important equations based on concentration and some key equations for us based on the relationship between the density, the overall density of the system and the density of the individual components. Okay, so let's imagine we've got some heterogeneous mixture of volume V. The host, indicated here in green, is what the particles are going into, and then the particles in red here are the particles themselves. So again, we'll refer to this as host and particles. We have a total volume V, a total mass M, and a total number of particles N naught. Okay, so what we'll need is much of this is going back and forth between the overall system, the thermodynamic properties of the overall system, and those of the individual pieces. And so we need definition of the individual pieces. And so the volume of the particles is going to be the sum of all, the total volume of the particles will be the sum of all the volume, which would then be the number of particles times the average of the volume. Now, very important, and if you've taken a lot of thermodynamics, you kind of know this. What volume are we talking about here? Are we talking about the volume of the pure state or the volume in the solution? Well, this is the volume in the solution. If you're thinking about a solid particle in a liquid, for example, like a hydrosol, then that's really neither here nor there, really. However, if you're talking about a bubbly liquid, so one in which there is air bubbles in the liquid, then you could easily imagine there's a little increased pressure there, and because the gas responds to pressure so much more, it's much more compressible, the volume it takes up in the solution is different than the volume, that same amount of volume would take up at the same temperature in the room. So these are all referring to the in solution or in mixture values. And basically everything we're doing in the course is talking about the in value system. So we are not going to cover the thermodynamics of mixing these. That's a different kind of, while important, that's not what we're doing here. We're focusing on the system as a mixture here. Okay, so if that's the case, then the volume of the host is going to be just the volume minus the volume taken up by the particles in that mixture. Mass, also important, and in fact, most of the time when we do thermodynamics, volume is, we more often work with volume. But here, mass is actually going to be more valuable for us, and we're going to be expressing a lot of our thermodynamic values as specific values, so values divided by mass, and be working with mass a lot. So mass play an important role here. Well, very much analogously, the mass of the particle is the sum of the mass of all the individual particles. So that's going to be the number times the average mass of the particles. Then the host will be just, again, the total mass minus the mass of the particles. Two really critical parameters that we're going to see in all of our equations. In fact, we're going to try to cast most of our equations in terms of these parameters. So either a volume concentration, so this is going to be the volume of the particles over the total volume, or, and we'll do mostly with this, a mass concentration, which will be the volume of the mass, will be the mass of the particles over the mass. And then we don't need an analogous definition because we only have two things. We have the particle type and we have the volume. Now, of course, you could be talking about more complicated mixtures where you have different types of particles. But here, that's just an added complication we don't really need. So we will have then 1 minus this percentage as our host percentage. Okay, so these are important. Kind of make a cheat sheet of these. Always have these when we go forward in the lecture. Density, as always, mass over volume. We can then define a particle density, and this is the mass of the particles over the mass of, or over the volume of those particles. And again, these are the in solution values. So we can write then, we're just kind of rewriting this, the mass of the particle is the density of the particle times the volume of the particle. But what is the volume of the particle? Coming from here, the volume of the particle, if we just bring this over to the other side, is going to be the volume of the whole times the percent of the volume of the particle. Likewise, we'd do a similar analysis and we would get the mass of the host is the density of the host times the total volume times the percent volume of the host. Okay, so we're going to drive two expressions for the total density in terms of the these percentages. And let's look at where we're headed, and then we'll get there. So it would be nice if we get formulas like this. And we're going to try to, that's a lot of the work we're going to be doing in this course, is trying to get formulas like this, where the overall mixture then can be written as a sum, a weighted sum of the host and the particles. And in some cases that works, in some cases it doesn't. We'll see here two cases, and in some cases it's more natural to talk about volume, in some cases it's more natural to talk about mass. So let's go ahead and try to derive this expression. So we'll start here, and we will leave volume as the total volume, and then we will break up the mass as the mass of the particle and the mass of the host. So these two guys, right? So then we'll just plug these in here. So that's just coming from here. That's coming from here. Notice there's a volume that can cancel in all places, and we get then the formula we were looking for. And indeed, we can express density as, so we've derived an expression where we can express density as a weighted volume fraction of the individual densities. Okay, let's do a little rearranging here. All this is doing some rearranging, so I'm not going to say too much about that. So these are just coming from these expressions. So rearranging these expressions. This is what we'll work with now to derive an expression for the reciprocal of the density. So density is going to show up a lot, and 1 over the density is going to show up a lot coming up. So we want a formula for that. It's convenient to have that. And so we have 1 over the density is volume over mass now. We're going to do the same trick. It's kind of the same trick here. We're going to take the numerator, split it up into its component parts, but keep the denominator as its full solution, or mixture. I shouldn't say solution, mixture. So this is coming just from up here, right? So it's breaking each of these up. We get a mass coming along just like we did over here. So the masses cancel and we get this. Maybe I should have written it like this. A weighted sum via the mass fraction here for density. Okay, let's derive yet another expression here involving density, and in fact involving 1 over density. We're just going to make a note here that let's look at the ratio of these two. We can write that, and that ends up being the ratio of the total pressure, or total density, over the density of the particle. So you can check my work here, see if we get that. So we're going to now write 1 over rho as, we're going to use this formula. So we're going to have phi m, and then we're going to, we need a rho p. So I'm going to take rho p over here and bring this over to the other side. So that's going to be phi m over v, because that got flipped to the other side. And then rho, the total rho. So, and then we're going to just leave this alone. Okay, we're just going to leave this alone. So I get some cancellation of the mass percent, and I get then this term that just comes along for the ride. So here's this. Now, let's take, let me write this here. So I'm going to take this over to this side. I'm just going to take that over to that side. So it's going to be this minus this, and then I'm going to pull out a 1 over rho. So I pull out a 1 over rho and get this. Now I'm going to bring this over to this side. And yeah, I have a mistake here. So I'm going to pull this over to this side, and we get, yeah. That. All right, of course we can flip this. We get that. Okay, let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's look at the interparticle separation in this, and we're going to do a couple of simplifications. Well, one simplification, we're going to take the particles to be spheres. So even if there's some, you know, for bubbles in water, that would be perfect. For most like emulsions, that would be perfect. If we're talking like particles, they certainly could have different shapes, but we could take that shape as kind of what is the sphere of that volume for the particle, for example. So it's not a dramatic approximation. And then we're going to assume that we get no flocculation. It's all evenly dispersed throughout the whole volume. We're going to take a unit volume here. So we're going to, we'll just choose a volume. We'll work in units where that is one volume. So if you want to think about it as 1 cubic meter, that's fine. Okay, so the number of we're going to have n, we're going to divide this volume. So the trick is here, we're going to divide this volume into the cubicles, and the number of cubicles will equal the number of particles. So imagine we're trying to fill this with squares, so that, or with cubes, so that there are n total number of cubes here. So a volume of a given cubicle then would be 1 over n. So this is really v over n, right? But just for convenience here, we're working in units where the total volume is 1. So that means the side length here is since these are cubes, the sides can be the cubed root of 1 over n. So we get n to the minus 1/3. Now let's turn our attention to the particle here. We're going to put a particle in each one of the cubicles, at the center of each one of those cubicles, and then we're going to get the distance. And that's going to be a good representation of the average distance that the particles experience. Now, of course, it's very dynamic. Some are further than others, some are closer than others. But this, given the uniform distribution, will give us a good average distance. Okay, so here's our formula for the sphere. And then our percent volume, we can think of that as the percent volume in a cubicle. So that will just translate to the overall volume. So we're thinking about 1 cubicle. We're talking about a percent here. So we take the volume of the sphere divided by the total volume. And that's going to be this percent volume. Now, let's solve this now for the number of particles. Okay, so we're going to write the number of particles in terms of this information here. Now, let's define an on-center distance. Well, not define. Let's look at what the on-center distance is. So we're going to take the center of those spheres and the distance between the center of spheres, not the surface contact distance, but the center of the spheres. We'll call that lambda. And that is going to be then really the distance between two cubicles, right? We take the center, we'll put the sphere at the center of the cubicle, the other sphere at the center of the cubicle. So it's going to be the distance of a cubicle. And so we get this. So we can then, we've gotten this formula over here. So we're just going to flip. We're going to notice here that's a minus. This I didn't put the minus here. This is a 1/3. So I'm going to flip this over and take it to the 1/3 power. Right? R is cubed, so that's going to just leave R. Okay? Units here are distance. Now, the contact distance then is going to be the cubicle distance, which is equal to the on-center distance, minus 2 times the radius. So that would be the surface contact. So you could try to work up some examples. If we're at a 20% volume load, which is a lot for a suspension, then the particles are quite close together. So this will give rise to this contact distance of less than a radius. Now, if we make that a 1%, which might be more typical, then we're 5.5 radii. And what you can do here is, what you'll notice, if you get up to 50%, you're getting pretty close to maximum load. So you cannot get this up to 100% with this model here, because as you might think about it, you've got these bigger particles and this surrounding host. The host is going to find the holes in the particles. So if you had spheres, you could not fill with just particles. So that's where the limitation of this model would come down. If you had cube-shaped particles, then of course you could fill a larger volume. And the last thing we want to talk about here is something called mass loading. So this is just the mass ratio. So most of these percentages are in terms of component over the total. Well, now we're looking at the ratio of the particle mass to the host mass. We can express that now in terms of the density, volume, and percent. So that's coming from over here. That's just using those formula. We get this ratio of densities. That comes up fairly often, although we're not going to use it in this course. But in the field, it comes up, and that's sometimes given the symbol delta. And then we have this ratio here. Okay, so we've laid down some definitions. And then we've talked about concentrations. And so we'll be ready to move on to some thermodynamics here in the next lecture.